Welcome to RLP Audiobooks channel, the channel that brings forgotten books back to life in audio format, so you can listen to whenever and wherever you desire, whether you're driving, chilling, and even sleeping. Please consider subscribing to the channel and click the notifications button so you don't miss out on any other videos. Now, relax, listen, ponder, and enjoy.
Surah 96. Al-Alaq. Context. Period of revelation. This surah has two parts. The first part consists of verses 1 to 5, and the second of verses 6 to 19. About the first part, a great majority of the Islamic scholars are in agreement that it forms the very first revelation to be sent down to the Prophet. In this regard, the hadith from the Prophet's wife Aisha, which Imam Ahmed, Bukhari, Muslim, and other traditionists have related with several chains of authorities, is one of the most authentic hadith on the subject. In it, Aisha has narrated the full story of the beginning of revelation, as she herself heard it from the Messenger of God. Besides, Ibn Abbas, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, and a group of the companions also are reported to have stated that these were the very first verses of the Qur'an to be revealed to the Prophet. The second part was sent down afterwards, when the Prophet began to perform the prescribed prayer in the precincts of the Kaaba, and his archenemy Abu Jahl tried to prevent him from this, with threats. Beginning of revelation. The traditionists have related on the strength of their respective authorities the story of the beginning of revelation from Imam Az-Zuhri, who had it from Urwa bin Zubair, who had it from Aisha, his aunt. She states that revelations to the Prophet began in the form of true, according to other hadith, good visions. Whichever vision he saw, it seemed as though he saw it in broad daylight. Afterwards, solitude became dear to him, and he would go to the cave of Hira to engage in worship there, for several days and nights. He would take provisions with him, and stay there for several days, then would return to Khadijah, who would again provide for him, for a few more days. One day when he was in the cave of Hira, revelation came down to him unexpectedly, and the angel said to him, "Read." After this, Aisha reports the words of the Prophet himself, to the effect, "I said, I cannot read. Thereupon the angel took me and pressed me, until I could bear it no more. Then he left me and said, Read. I said, I cannot read. He pressed me a second time, until I could bear it no more. Then he left me and said, Read. I again said, I cannot read. He pressed me for the third time, until I could bear it no more. Then he left me, and said, Read in the name of your Lord, who created. Iqra bismi rabbikal ladzi khalaqa, till he reached what he did not know. Malam, Yalam. Aisha says, Then the Holy Messenger returned home to Khadijah, trembling with fear, and said to her, Cover me. Cover me. And he was covered. When terror left him, he said, O Khadijah, what has happened to me? Then he narrated to her whatever had happened, and said, I fear for my life. She said, No, never. Be of good cheer. By God, never will God debase you. You treat the kindred well, you speak the truth. One tradition adds, You restore what is entrusted to you, you bear the burden of the helpless, you help the poor, you entertain the guests, and you cooperate in good works. Then she took him to Waraka bin Nawfal, who was her cousin. He had become a Christian in pre-Islamic days, wrote the Gospel in Arabic and Hebrew, and had become very old and blind. Khadijah said, Brother, listen to the son of your brother. Waraka said to the Holy Prophet, What have you seen, nephew? The Holy Prophet described what he had seen. Waraka said, This is the same Namus, the angel of revelation, which God had sent down to Moses. Would that I were a young man, during your prophethood. Would that I were alive, when your tribe would expel you. The Holy Prophet said,
will they expel me?" Waraka said, "Yes, never has it so happened that a person brought what you have brought, and was not treated as an enemy. If I lived till then, I would help you, with all the power at my command." But not very long after this, Waraka died.
This narrative is explicit, that even until a moment before the coming of the angel to the messenger of God, he was intimately aware of his life, his affairs, and dealings. When he also heard of his experience, he did not regard it as an evil suggestion, but immediately said that it was the Namus, who had descended on Moses. This meant that even according to him, the prophet was such a sublime person, that there was nothing surprising in his being elevated to the office of prophethood. Occasion of revelation of verses 6 to 19. This second part of the surah was revealed when the messenger of God began to perform the prayer in the Islamic way in the Kaaba, and Abu Jahl threatened and tried to prevent him from this. It so happened that after his appointment to prophethood, even before he could start preaching Islam openly, he began to perform the prayer in the precincts of the Kaaba, in the way God taught him, and from this, the Quraysh felt for the first time that he had adopted a new religion. The other people were watching it with curiosity, but Abu Jahl, in his arrogance and pride, threatened the Prophet and forbade him to worship in that way, in the Kaaba. In this connection, quite a number of the hadith have been related from Abdullah ibn Abbas and Abu Hurairah, which mention the foolish behavior of Abu Jahl. Abu Hurairah says that Abu Jahl asked the people of Quraysh,
"Does Muhammad set his face on the ground before you?"
When they replied in the affirmative, he said,
"By Lat and Uzza, if I ever catch him in that act of worship, I would set my foot on his neck and rub his face in the dust."
Then it so happened that he saw the messenger in that posture, and came forward to set his foot on his neck, but suddenly turned back as if in a fright, and being asked what was the matter, he said there was a ditch of fire, and a terrible spirit between himself and Muhammad, and some wings. On hearing this, the Prophet remarked,
"Had he come near me, the angels would have smitten and torn him to pieces."
According to Ibn Abbas, Abu Jahl said,
"If I caught Muhammad performing his prayer by the Kaaba, I would trample his neck down."
When the Prophet heard of it, he said,
"If he acted so, the angels would seize him there, and then."
According to another hadith from Ibn Abbas, the Prophet was performing his prayer at the station of Abraham.
Maqam Ibrahim.
Abu Jahl passed that way and said,
"O Muhammad, did I not forbid you this?"
And then he started to threaten him. In reply, the Prophet rebuked him severely. Thereupon he said,
"O Muhammad, on what strength do you rebuke me? By God, my followers in this valley far exceed yours in number."
Because of these very incidents, the portion of this surah,
Verse 6,
beginning with,
"No, but indeed man transgresses,"
was sent down. Naturally, the place of this part should be the same as assigned to it in this surah of the Qur'an, for after the coming down of the first revelation, the Prophet had given expression to Islam, first of all by the act of prayer, and his conflict with the pagans. Surah 96. Al-Alaq.
the clinging, or suspended substance. The surah has also been called Iqra, meaning, recite, or read.
In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Recite in the name of your Lord who created the human being from a clinging substance. Recite, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen. Taught the human being that which he knew not. No. But indeed the human being transgresses, because he sees himself self-sufficient. Indeed to your Lord is the return. Have you seen the one who forbids a servant when he prays? Have you seen if he is upon guidance, or enjoins righteousness? Have you seen if he denies, and turns away? Does he not know, that God sees? No. If he does not desist, we will surely drag him by the forelock.
It may also mean, slap him, or blacken his face at the forelock.
a lying, sinning forelock. Then let him call his associates, we will call the angels of hell.
Those who push the wicked into the fire.
No. Do not obey him. But prostrate and draw near to God.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed listening to this book, please give it a like, and consider subscribing to the channel, and click the notifications button so you don't miss out on any other videos.